Welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome. My name is Jose. I am a Godan in Kendo, and this is Kendo Tips. We're gonna be talking about Kendo today, watching some Kendo videos, and hopefully learning something to improve our Kendo. How's everybody doing today? Let me tell you what the plan is for today. You guys know that the All Japan Championship is coming up in a few days, in a few weeks actually. I believe in like 30 days, something like this. And I kind of wanted to go over some of the Ippons from the last All Japan, try to figure out what players you think will be worth looking after into the tournament coming up. So let me make sure. Hold on, for some reason my chat is not showing here. Give me a second. There we are. Okay, so you can let me know you're here. Just send me a message, or you can hit the like button. It also helps the channel a lot. And let me just tell you a little bit of some news. Well, I already told you that the All Japan Championship is coming up. Also, a friend of mine, Japan, told me that in January Japan is gonna fully open their borders. So I guess it's time for people to start planning their travels there. It'll be kind of cool. And there's something that I noticed this last night. I was going over some of the videos from the All Japan, trying to find out the videos from the previous All Japan Championship and so on. But I went in there and they have a new updated video, or I'm not gonna say updated, but it's like a new video about the provisional rules for COVID. And I noticed something very interesting, and I don't know if it's just something that's happening from my end, but I couldn't put subtitles on it. Like, not even the auto translate. So that's kind of weird, and it's a little bit concerning if that's like I wouldn't know why this will be done like this. That's so weird. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure that everything's running smooth. For some reason, my windows are okay. So Ash, yeah, it's really odd. So I tried to put the subtitles. I tried to put the auto translate, and then I went to a previous video that they posted it, and you could do that on this one. But in this one, there was not talking. It was just kind of like pictures and text, which I guess we can go on, Google Translate and translate it ourselves anyways. But I felt that was kind of odd in the sense that we're getting so very little information. So they're putting all these resources, they're writing the thing on English at the bottom as well, and they're not letting us you know, have a little bit of better access, I guess. Maybe they're trying to avoid misinterpretations by Google Translate or Auto Translate from YouTube. I don't know. But I thought it was very odd. So if you guys have some time later on, maybe you want to check to see if you can access that video and put subtitles on it, and let me know. Also, if anybody would like to be part of the YouTube family, the Kendo Tips members, you can sign up in the link that I just put in the chat. Uh, the Mockritus, welcome. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for passing by. I also was trying to find out a list of competitors in English. Let me see. I found the one from the last championship. Let me see if I can find the list of competitors for this year's. It's like they have event details, but it doesn't have the. Yeah, I don't have it, but I noticed that none of the people, none of the Osaka guys that I know are competing. I didn't see Tsuchitani or Maeda, which is kind of sad because Tsuchitani is very strong and I would like to see him compete. And Maeda, he's also very strong. I think sometimes Maeda kind of like falls under pressure a little bit, but also very interesting kendo to see. I would love to see him compete this year, but I don't know if they're gonna compete. Hoshiko is there, but now this year he's not as unemployed. Now he's a police officer, which makes me think that the police kind of like went back to the regular practice schedule, I guess. And I think I saw that Hoshiko is in Tokyo now. So I don't remember because I saw the list like 2 days ago and I was trying to find it in English and I couldn't find it. Anyways, so today what I wanted to do is I wanted to go over some Ippons from the 69, so the previous All Japan Kendo Championship. And the idea with this is I kind of want to go over specifically on what makes an Ippon and what's there that we can say this was an Ippon. So kind of like also analyzing a little bit about normally what people tend to either be too picky at judging or too harsh on the judgment of this. What are some of the common habits that we see that maybe or may not be considered an Ippon, or what will take away from the Ippon itself? I don't know if that makes sense. So, but we'll go over them and see if that makes a little bit of sense. If you guys, again, if you have any questions about this or anything else, just please let me know down in the comments. And let's go. So, as a matter of fact, the first player that is fighting here is Tsuchitani. I really love his kendo. I actually have a picture of him doing kamae that he did for me without his kendo gi and hakama. And I need to find that picture again. I need to share it with you guys. But anyways, very strong kendo. Oh, wait. Where's the... Oh, wait. This is... Okay, this is the second round. Very, very nice. Very nice Tsuki in there. So... Oh, wait. Sorry, I thought it was a Tsuki. No, it's a Hikiman. Also very, very strong Hikiman. The approach for the Tsuki... It's very interesting. Okay, he missed, right? But normally, one of the things that I feel that makes people miss Tsuki the most, including myself, is throwing it from too far. And not necessarily... It's just, it gets you to be in an awkward posture and you just don't get the right balance, the right, what's it called? Stability to get a very good contact with the Tsuki. But here, I think this is a good distance for the tsuki, right? It's already in a close distance. Obviously, the man, any technique at this point is fair game, I feel like. He went for the tsuki maybe because of the communication that he was having previously during the match. But very interesting, he's also going for that tsuki when he's going back. So there's something also that we need to keep in mind or take in consideration when doing tsuki. And this is normally one of the best times to do the tsuki, right? When the person is kind of in a defensive going backwards, because it's very sharp, very quick. Unfortunately, he missed it, and his opponent was able to come in and do a very strong hikiman. Okay, so in this one, we have two judges that said yes, one judge that say, not really. And let's see kind of what makes that happening. I really like at this point where Red takes a second or takes the time to fix his body again to go back into his posture for Kamai. Oh, you see that? The contact of the sword. So this is one of the reasons why I always try to do this for myself and tell everybody, especially for testing. I think this is very important, that if you miss, you don't look like you break down. You gotta make sure that when you are throwing a technique, even if you miss it, your body, your sword, your wrist, your hands, everything should look as if you scored it. And this is a perfect example to that. If you see, he comes in for that man, and it's a sharp stop, and as if it bounced. And you get that. Sorry, you get this bounce from proper tenouchi, right? Because if you don't have proper tenouchi, the sword's gonna, like, most people tend to push down with their arms and then keep the sword down. But here, if you have proper tenouchi, you're gonna have extension on your wrist. Let me make sure that you guys can see it. Okay, so you're gonna have extension on your wrist, and then as the wrist extend, the same wrist, the position of the fingers, everything is gonna bring the tip back up. So you don't want to pull the tip up, but naturally after you let the sword go down, it wants to kind of bounce up. It can't. Sorry. Okay, let me do it again. After you extend, the sword naturally wants to come back up because your wrist want to contract and come back to its natural position rather than being extended like this, right? So this is one of the things that I think is crucial, especially for testing. You want to look as if you score your technique even when you missed. Normally when you see people throwing techniques and over swinging, lowering their body, changing their position, breaking down, it kind of really, it's a bad look. I don't know if you guys agree, but it's definitely one of the things that you want to avoid as much as possible during practice and especially for your testing. For Shiai in this case, it was good enough for two judges to bring up the sword, right? So granted, I feel like there was also impact. It wasn't as good as an impact as it could have been, but I think it's a good example. I think it's a good showing of how you can score an ippon sometimes without even scoring an ippon, right? So So let's watch this one more time. Let's watch it. Let's watch it from Katsumi, it's interesting. Katsumi, I think he has a very interesting kendo. I really like the way he moves. It's not necessarily the way I do kendo for myself. I don't think it's a kendo that I can replicate easily, in the sense of his style overall in general. But I think he has his own kendo. I really appreciate watching him. So this interaction is very interesting. Katsumi, it's on the retreat, right? It's a little bit going backwards. As White approaches, he approaches taking control of the sword. Katsumi makes the distance with a little bit of on an overreaction with the hands, but tries to make the distance again. His opponent again takes control of the sword and immediately goes in for that man. Something very important when you're gonna try to take control of somebody's sword is that you want to keep in mind the opponent. When you're trying to come in to get a technique, when you're trying to come in to get a technique, you want to make sure that your focus is your opponent. So many people, when they do this type of things, they try to over they try to over control and take their own tip away from the opponent. Notice how he did this in this example. He took control of the opponent, but with a forward intention. So it was very effortlessly. So it didn't take too much effort to go from taking control of the sword into the shinai. It didn't taking control of the sword into taking the man from the opponent. So it's very important to make sure that we keep in mind the opponent rather than the shinai. So if you see this again, very, very interesting. Also, I feel that there's a little bit of, I always say that timing, it's better than being faster. And one of the things about this exchange right here is that there's a change of timing right here. You see, there's a stop, but then continuously into the technique again. Very cool Ippon. Very cool Ippon. So this is something that you have to take the time to practice. This is something that you only get with experience, guys. And this is something that you have to practice purposely. So he goes for a Tsuki, White goes for Tsuki, and then re-steps to hit the man. So I know I said a lot, small steps. Small steps is the key. So look at the stepping from here and immediately landing the left foot to pretty much do the Fumikomi as close as he could to make sure right here he was borderline going too deep for that man. But you want to make sure you're able to do the small steps. You want to bring that right leg down quick. You see, if you hear the timing, and interesting enough, he didn't lose balance as he went for that Tsuki. Very nice. So this one, sometimes you can get an ippon from controlling the opponent, and sometimes you get an ippon from getting them to react inappropriately, right? So, and sometimes you get an ippon by making them freeze or hesitate. So in this one, he was coming in for he was coming in already. Red was coming in. He knocked the shinai. He hit the shinai to kind of get a reaction as his opponent was coming in, right? Very, very interesting. But the main thing that I want to point out from here is that whenever you're doing any technique, to take control of your opponent, get a reaction, or get them to freeze, you always want to try to do it with motion already. So having your body in motion. This case, you see that he does this as he's moving the feet. The contact with the sword comes in after the feet start moving. So not to do it, because many people, what they do is that they first knock the sword, then they feel like they can go. It shouldn't be like this. You should create the motion, engage your legs, and then use your sword to get out of the way, to get a reaction, to then get your technique. If not, you will never make it through the opening. You know, uh, probably a cool analogy for that is to you gotta think about when you make an opening, you have to anticipate the opening. So it's almost like, I don't know if you see like in the movies or any game that the thing's kind of opening and closing. So sometimes you have to maybe throw whatever you're gonna throw or shoot as the thing is closed. So that way, okay, how do I say this? So I don't know if you've seen those games where maybe you throw a ball and the thing is opening and closing, and you have to throw the ball when the door is closed, right? Because if you do it as it's already open, by the time the ball gets there, it will be closed. Same thing happens here with your techniques. If you try to make the opening and then move, most likely that door will close again by the time that you get there. But if you're in motion, open the door, it will be right there for you to take it. Of course, you have to have 100% commitment. You have to throw your body in. You cannot hesitate. And it will take experience to practice and to make sure that this happens correctly. But if you start by just knocking the shinai, focusing on the opponent's shinai, most likely you will not have a good opening and a good successful ippon. I don't know if you guys, what do you guys think about this? What are your thoughts on how do you approach making an opening, and what do you focus on as you're coming in? This is a very, very cool ippon as well. So as he approached, and look where the engagement starts, guys. So I kind of have this discussion a lot with people, that people want to kind of start the communication when the swords are already touching. You should have the communication start even before. So as he's approaching, he's coming in, he's re-engaging the left leg, he's getting communication here with the shinai, and then going in for that man. Very cool. Ash, so you're saying that your answer to creating the opening, it's different every day. So, okay, do you have any core concept or any consistent approach? Not necessarily because of the opponent, because of course the opponent is going to change. Even if it's the same person, their mentality might change, but something that you always kind of keep in mind. I remember a friend of mine will always tell me that for him, it was to imagine that behind him, there's a hole, and if he goes back, he's gonna fall. So, maybe something like this. I always thought that was very interesting and very useful as well. Kind of to avoid him or avoiding your opponent pressuring you into falling, right? So, I don't know. Interesting approach, I guess. I'm gonna try not to stop on every Ippon, but some of these have something that's very interesting and very specific that I kind of want to explore briefly. So in this one is the katsugi. For me, I noticed, and I guess when I first started coping katsugi, the motion was more of like bringing the motion that I was trying to copy when I first saw katsugi was to just bring my right arm or my right hand towards my shoulder, right? But what this does is completely opens the kote, and it also promotes right hand uh, motion. It promotes right hand motion. For katsugi, and again, this is not a video on how to do katsugi, but you want to use both hands. You want to. This is hard to see. Let me see if I can make you guys a little bit lower. Okay, so for katsugi, you want to use your left hand as well. So then that way you throw it. So the angle, it ends up being more that you're swinging over your shoulder rather than bringing the right hand to your shoulder. Very small detail. Very small detail, but it's something that you want to make sure that you understand, because a lot of times happens that we're trying to copy things that we see and we end up doing a bad job because of little details like this. So if you see here, for him to do katsugi, he does use the left hand. He's gonna push here, you see, with the left hand, and then pull with the left hand rather than right hand, right hand. Does that make sense? Degote, it's very risky technique always. Oh. So I always say that every time that you reset, you have to be extremely careful, because here it's a big. Oh, that's that. I thought we were gonna do an ippon right there. It's always, you always have to be careful right after the moment of Sankyo, or when the fight stops and you come back to the center. You have to be extremely, extremely careful. I feel like Kaishido is always a favorite of many people. And a couple of things that I always try to bring up when we're talking about Kaishido is don't go back for the Kaishido. If the person it's overwhelming you and coming forward too quick, okay, maybe you have to adjust the distance. But what I mean by don't go back is that don't wait there for them to come in and then come back. What you want to do is you want to put the pressure forward and assess. Is the person's too fast, that they closed in, maybe you close the distance too much, maybe you're gonna have to adjust, but you always want to have that forward intention in mind. So you see he comes in forward, readjusts the left foot, and immediately in one motion keeps the momentum going forward. Just watching this. Very interesting. Very cool Kaishido. Very quick, man. Look at how compact this man is, guys. This is I think this is the goal, right? To have a man like this. So his opponent starts coming in. He does a big motion, but White, without wasting any movement, throws the hands forward and Tenouchi into the man. So one of the things that I was made aware of not long ago, actually, when I was in Greece, was, and maybe again, maybe you guys are doing it already, but maybe you're doing it unconsciously, is that for small men, right? So when we do big men, you bring the sword up here, and then you start doing Tenouchi as the sword is coming down, right? But for small men, you got to throw the hands in, and before you make it to the top, do the Tenouchi. So it's not like you have to wait here to do the Tenouchi, and this horrible angle. It's not like you go all the way up here and then you do Tenouchi, right? You want to be efficient, and you want to start pushing the hands in, and as the sword is making it to the end, you want to do Tenouchi right as the hands are about to be at the end. So you don't want to go up and down, right? You want to, one motion, you push with left and then go in forward. I need to fix my setup here, so maybe I can have another camera or something so you guys can see it better. But hope that makes sense. You want to come in with the Tenouchi before the end of the motion for your hands. So if you watch it here, pushing forward, and right about here is where the Tenouchi is happening. So before the hands make it to the end point. That makes sense? That kote was pretty straightforward, pretty harsh. So it's one of those things that maybe at this point, what do you guys think happened? So at this point, I feel like Red saw the sword coming in this way. I totally thought that he was gonna hit the left kote. My things tell me that, okay. Okay, sorry guys, it looked like I got disconnected for a second there. Yeah, it looks like I got disconnected there for a second, but I don't know what happened, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, so what I was saying, that we talked about it in the Jordan stream, that the best defense and attack. So I'm guessing that here, because he thought that White was coming in for his left kote, he decided to throw a technique, and the change of timing managed to get enough to hit that right kote. So this is one of the hardest technique that Jordan has, I think. One of the trickiest technique also to receive, because he might have felt safe covering up high, right? But every time you cover up high against Jordan players, they can come at you just like that. Hector, how's Florida? The weather? How's the Florida weather treating me? Hope you're not too affected in Miami. Not at all, actually. There was a little bit of rain here and a lot of wind and stuff like that, but everything's good. Everything's good over here. I know the other side got hit pretty harsh, but so far all my friends that are on the other side of the coast here in Florida, they say they're okay too. So I don't know. Hoshiko has something that's very interesting. His style of kendo, it's, I think, very interesting, very smart. He does this a lot though. This is kind of like his to-go thing, I feel like. I don't know if you guys noticed what he did, but he's putting pressure forward, and he's very good at reading his, I think, again, this is my assumption. I think that Hoshiko is really good at reading when their opponent commits. So one of the things that I notice him to do quite often is that he puts pressure on the opponent, causing them to come in, and then he kind of messes up with the timing and the distance by taking almost like half a step back. And with this, he readjusts the point where he needs to strike to hit the man. And a lot of his ippons are like this. So watch this. He puts the pressure forward. When his opponent is coming in, he kind of looks like he's retreating. And then he retreats again, anchors his left leg, and immediately comes in for that man. So I feel that what this does, it creates hesitation. Number one, creates hesitation on the opponent. But number two, it also kind of gives him a different distance because now his opponent is coming in. And if there's that hesitation, he doesn't have to commit that much further, right? I think it's very cool. Okay, so that's one of the things that we're gonna be talking about. I'm actually gonna make a video a little bit about that. Oh wait, it wasn't this one. And it's the use of hikiwaza now, and how we're using it, how we are seeing it being performed now with the COVID rules. Hold on, let me put this down a little bit. I feel like I'm too high. There you go. And in this sense, it's kind of used as a counter, right? So he starts kind of pulling his opponent to come in. He's pulling his opponent to come in. He tried to grab the shinai of the opponent. He missed. Gladly, he didn't get hit. But immediately, he's able to shift his direction. So you have to do this. In order to do this, you have to be able to understand how to have a good posture and balance in your body to move whichever direction you want. Very, very, very good reaction. Very good use of distance in hikiwaza. I don't know what you guys think, but this is one of my favorite exchanges to watch when people do I men, Negashira men, right? So in here, this is something in one of my previous videos that I mentioned, that especially when you start getting up to higher levels, mostly people, you see that, like, for example, sensei will put pressure and the student will come in, right? As things start evolving, you're gonna start seeing pressure, 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 and then one is gonna go, one is gonna react, and so on. And this is the talk that you need to get experience for. Like you need to experiment a lot to understand what type of motions that people do, what can you do against those motions, and so on. But if you notice here, that's exactly kind of what's happening. Nobody is overreacting or trying not to overreact, especially too soon, so that way they can engage at the proper time. So let's watch it. So here they start putting pressure forward. At this point, both of them, they're kind of set into going in. You will notice that this happens a lot where people kind of switch the angle of the core. I think I talked about this in my last stream, is that you want to make sure, or what they're trying to do, they're trying to make sure that they have a good space behind them and after them to go through or to go back without going out of bounds, right? Because remember, if you have a square, the diagonal sides, the diagonal lines are going to be the one that are going to be the longest. So from here, both of them, they're kind of set on going forward. There is pressure from this side, then return pressure from this side, return pressure, and then he just goes. But he missed it, and oh, I think both of them missed it. Whoa. Okay. So perfect example again to study how not an ippon can be an ippon, right? So we're having here good commitment on the technique, good energy, kiai, a good tenauchi, control of the sword, and just overall a good attitude after the strike. Both of them, I think, had it, right? Here, he clearly missed, but he was able to come in as if he struck. Again, I think that this is one of the craziest things. It does happen a lot. I'm not going to say a lot, but it does happen where you can get an ippon without getting an ippon. See that again? If you see that in normal speed, it will look almost... Now we're paying attention to it, so it's hard to not see it, right? But I dare you to show this video to somebody, watch this, and tell me if you see the mistake. Right? Nice kote. Very nice kote. Okay, one thing that I really like about this kote is how he's able to go around and watch. From going up here all the way around to hit the kote. Now, I guess he missed it too. Oh, okay, this one's tricky, right? Because I saw it as a kote as well at the beginning, but now that we know where to look at, this is very interesting. Is this the same guy that got the last ippon? Oh my god, this guy was blasting this fight. Very interesting. So he did lose his arm, right? It's very, very interesting. Some of the main points that I feel that we always have to make sure that we keep in mind when doing when trying to get a good ippon. Number one is your attitude. So you want to come in with energy. You don't want to come in with hesitation. You want to throw yourself in. So actually, George McCall wrote an article a while back about Zanshin, and he mentions Sutemi within the article. And that's a great article to go read about overall how to approach an opponent and how to get out after a technique. Because as we notice, even when there's no contact and when there's no ippon, you're able to get a good ippon if you have a lot of the you're able to get an ippon from the judges if you have certain things that kind of makes us feel that you won that engagement. Because the point here is not that, okay, this person didn't have contact, is that it's clear to the judges that this person won the engagement. So it's an interesting concept because obviously there's no context, so there's no sword, there's no cutting, or there's not, nothing like that. But you understand that this person was stronger than the other person at that moment. And I feel that that's why judges tend to give an ippon when there's no ippon. So I'm sure that, they will see it and say like, oh, maybe that was an ippon later when they can actually see it. Because remember, this is happening in the flash of an eye. Mistakes are done, mistakes are made. It's fine, it's okay. But even when you're there and you're seeing, even right now through camera, we can see that a lot of these exchanges, these people showed a lot of power, right? A lot of strength. And a lot of times I feel that that comes from, number one, their commitment into the technique, and number two, their control of their body after. So their stability, the ability to keep producing strength after the strike. Most people, again, when they miss and they're not prepared, what happens is that they break down right after this moment. But here, this guy, he had a lot of force to push through and keep going forward. As a matter of fact, the reaction of his opponent made it better, right? Because he lost the ippon and he immediately brought down the hands. He tried to bring down the hands to stop him, but his opponent just kind of came in as if that's it. This was it. Hope that makes sense. I don't know if you guys have any questions. Please let me know. I think this type of, actually, George McCall from Kenshin 24/7. I talked to him a while back, and one of the things that he told me, especially that he does to his students, is that he tells them to go into the All Japan videos to see what judges are considering ippon. And I think it's a very good practice to have in order for us to improve ourselves and try to understand how to do better ippons, how to approach better our opponent, and how to make sure that we are having the upper hand in the exchanges, right? I know it's hard to come into practice and be okay with getting hit sometimes, right? I feel like this is one of the hardest lessons for people to learn, that it's okay to get hit. But if you are just throwing yourself in, getting hit left and right, left and right, left and right, guess what? You're gonna figure it out how to not get hit, but still have that commitment to go for a technique. But if you come in trying to hide away from getting hit and then trying to get ippons based on the opportunity because your opponent made a mistake, then your kendo will get stuck at some point. And I feel that if I can give an advice to anybody, it's just go there, give 100%, don't get hit, don't go back, commit to your techniques, and try to find out how to do that better every time. And of course, pay attention, ask yourself why am I getting hit, why this didn't work, why did this work, and so on. That makes sense, guys? Hope it does. Guys, I wanna see if I can start doing these streams a little bit shorter, especially because I'm gonna be bringing some guests. So I think I mentioned this before. I am organizing to have Andy Fisher come in here, and the other person, I have a friend of mine that he just recently passed Rokudan, and he said yes to coming in for an interview, but I need to organize it as well. So I'm trying to find formats on how to do this a little bit more efficient during my streams, and especially for practice for these interviews, because I don't want to keep them forever. So always your suggestions are welcome, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. You guys keep me motivated and keep learning all this stuff. Keep going with this, and to make sure that I am giving you the best information I can. So that being said, I'm gonna cut it off for today. I will be going on a trip, but I'll try to do my stream next Saturday as well. Okay, I will not be doing it from here though. So I'm gonna say thank you everybody for passing by. I'm putting in the comments a little video that I posted this morning. If you could go pass by, check it out, hit the like button, I'll appreciate it. Sirius, thanks for the video. You're welcome, man. Is there a dojo that you recommend on Toronto? I don't have. I can find out. I have friends in Canada, so I don't know if you have me on Instagram, or maybe you can send me a message here or so on. Put in maybe another video or something so that way it stays there, and I'll find out for you. I have a couple friends up in Canada, so they can give me good recommendations. Ash, thank you. Same to you. I'll be seeing you guys soon. And also, if you guys, I put up the link for the membership. If you guys can go check it out, I have one that's like 99 cents, and it really helps the channel. You get a couple of extra perks if you are part of the channel as well. So I'll appreciate if you guys can at least check it out and give me some recommendations for the channel as well. Guys, thank you very much for passing by. I really appreciate you guys being here. So take care, and I'll hope to practice with all you guys soon. Okay, take care, guys. Have a good rest of your day.